It's 10:08. Welcome back. Well, our next guest live here in the studio is something of a political and business enigma. I speak about Clive Palmer, and I think everyone's got an opinion about Clive, whether you love him, whether you loathe him, or whether you find him a source of amusement. Probably a little bit of all three, I would have thought, from time to time. In fact, the big man's nodding his head. Must have said something right from the outset, which is handy. Clive Palmer, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Hello, everybody.
Your early years, I mean, you were almost going to become one of our great sports people from what you tell us. I mean, last time we had a conversation, it was on the phone, and you were telling me about, which I was a little sceptical about, I've got to admit, that you did hold a record for sprinting.
I did. I held 100, 200 and 400 metre records, and I went back to my old school. I got a 100-year anniversary, and I still hold the 400 metres record after 48 years, so that's not too bad, is it? You know?
So what sort of times were you clocking?
Well, my best time for
Were they metres or yards?
Metres. My best time for 100 metres was 10.5. 200 metres, I think I did 21.4. 400 metres, my best time was 47.
We're talking seconds here, not minutes.
Seconds, that's
Yeah,
right.
good, yeah.
But I was a much lighter, much more motivated person then, and I had the opportunity of going with a guy that was a great high jumper over to Cornell University in the States. I decided not to go. He went over, did a degree in marketing, married a girl in Kentucky. He's got 8 kids, so I'm lucky I didn't go. I've got a happy wife and a happy life.
But you got, 10.2 seconds for the 100.
10.5.
I'll beg your pardon, 10.5. I mean, we're almost talking Olympic Games stuff.
Nearly, and but I thought when I was 17, I thought, well, I didn't want to stay in athletics. I remember meeting Ron Clark one time at a function, and I was like 17. He must have been at the end of his career, and he'd been such a great runner, but he'd never won a gold medal. And I thought, well, gee, do I want to be at 35 all washed up? Or is it better to be like I am today at 62 all washed up? You know? So you don't want to look back to say what you've had. You know, yeah. Muhammad Ali told us we don't want to count the days, we want to make every day count. And that's what we've got to do in our country.
And I don't want to open old wounds here or anything, old emotional wounds, but yeah. I saw a fascinating show that you appeared on with Alan Fanning on SBS.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people have seen you cry.
No.
And you cried.
Yeah.
When you were talking about your first wife on that particular show. And I think we saw a side of Clive Palmer that we just don't see.
Well, she was a very humble person. And, when I first met her at university, I didn't have any money. I was unemployed. And she took me in and looked after me for a while. And we used to split the money 50-50, the $150 or something that we had. And after a while, my life got better. I was more successful in business. But all through our marriage, she stuck with that system that was good enough in the past to be good enough in the future. So I found myself at times having hundreds of millions of dollars and not being able to do certain things because I had to make sure it was with her. And I wondered about it, but then I realised it was about self-respect and about appreciating each other for who we are.